It's Friday and I got time today. Um, Probation, which means maybe he shouldn't have been hired because he wasn't needed. That's not how it works in the federal government. And if you're talking from a place of ignorance, you might do yourself well by just being quiet. Because I keep saying the federal government hiring process is not the same as the private sector. Even in the private sector, there's a probationary period. There is also something called the natural attrition when people are retiring. So they need to fill certain positions because of the natural attrition. The natural attrition means somebody, they retire, they may decide to move on, whatever. So you don't know what you're talking about. And like I've said, I have no issue. I take absolutely no issue with the downsizing of the government. No issue whatsoever. I have no issue with actually finding credible fraud, waste, and abuse. I have said before, I've even been a whistleblower at some point in my career. I'm all about accountability. I'm all about people who are not doing their job going away. But that is not how it's done here. And also, in accordance with the law, there are certain procedures that are required, whether you are probationary or not. Now, as a probationary employee, you do have limited rights, but depending on what I talked about earlier in the video, if the process was not followed in accordance with the regulation, then you have appeal rights. Also, somebody said, well, everybody was, stealing, so they need to get another job. Again, that sounds very ignorant. And I'm going to tell you why it sounds ignorant. Because the majority of the people that were fired are low-level employees. What they stealing? What they stealing? So I understand this, some people just talk because they have a mouth. People type because they have fingers. But you don't know what you're talking about. And like I said, I'm going to continue to say it. Some of y'all just salty because you couldn't get in. You didn't have the skill sets, the background to get in. And somebody else wrote, let me find it, hold on. Okay, so this individual writes, if the systems can run with less people, then there should be less employees. I agree with that. Unfortunately for those fired, but taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for people to just have jobs. Who said that? This 4 years, costs are going to be examined. I will concur. But like I said, as someone who has conducted investigations in the military and in civilian service, they're not done in less than 30 days. That impact all these people effectively and accurately. Thus, some people would not be getting their jobs back. Some people who were fired erroneously, who are tenured career employees, wouldn't have got fired. Thus, people who are doing work regarding the bird flu, the nuclear stockpiles, the whatever else, they wouldn't be bringing them back. That means it's not done correctly and accurately. Let me tell you something. If they find fraud, I'm all for it. Handle it. Hold folks accountable. But everything should be done decent and in order. But see, these are words from zealots, and often those who are ill-informed about how the process is supposed to go. I will not suffer fools. I will not suffer fools in ignorance. I don't claim to know everything, but I know some things about this federal thing. I'm not an attorney, but I know some things about this federal thing. As a retired HR professional in the federal service, dealing with employee relations, labor relations, reasonable accommodations, I know some things about that. So, how can I say this? Kick rocks. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Take that with you. And another thing, when I say background, I mean you couldn't pass the background check. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about the experience. I'm talking about you couldn't pass the background check. That's why you are indifferent. But again, you sound ignorant. Now I'm done.